You know, I've been in business for a while. Worked for different companies and things like that before I started working for myself. And the one thing that I think is a constant is I see companies always make really stupid decisions, or I see writers make really stupid decisions. And a lot of times those decisions are tied into either politics or trying to make some sort of a social statement without thinking about the broad effects of that statement. So, allow me to give you an example. This is a little disturbing considering half the country's on fire as I record this. Comic artists against fascism. This is, of course, a mirror of the Antifa symbol. The same Antifa that it's looking like is about to be declared a terrorist organization. Yeah, not exactly the brightest move here. Now, I know that the why is a little obvious, but here's the big thing, and this is what I think needs to be considered. I would like you to imagine being one of these people who is in a city that is getting ransacked or burned. And by the way, I'm in a safe place, just so people know. Perfectly fine where I'm at. I don't live in a big city. I live in a city that's like in the middle of the red part of the country. Nobody really is interested in setting shit on fire. More than anything, the people in my town are just more concerned about getting back to work once this whole pandemic thing is done. But anyway, I look at this and I think to myself, imagine being one of these people in one of these bigger cities like Minneapolis or Chicago or anything like that. And you are seeing your city burn. Your neighbors are all grabbing their guns. And it's scary. It's scary as all get out. You're worried about your kids. You're worried about your wife. All this other stuff. Imagine being in that situation. And then maybe you decide to check Twitter. Maybe you want to see something positive coming from comic books. And you see someone like Jeff Lemire. And I feel like I'm picking on this guy a lot, but to hell with it. You see this, and you see him basically mirroring the logo of one of the groups that is trying to destroy everything that you have and is destroying your community. I honestly cannot think of something that would be more disgusting than this. And this is not just one of those things where you look at what's being said, you look at what's going on around you, and you say to yourself, well, this is just them virtue signaling. This is comic artists quite literally adopting the logo of a group that's now in the process of being declared a domestic terror organization. Could you imagine for 1 second if this happened on the opposite side of the political aisle? Could you imagine if there were a bunch of comic book artists who suddenly were flying, I don't know, Nazi flags or something like that? Or doing the whole 14 words thing and stuff and things along those lines. And that, by the way, I know that there are people who have done that, but they're not big names in the industry like Jeff Lemire. Could you imagine that, though? There would be a massive public outcry about it. So, it is disturbing, to say the least, to see professionals do this sort of thing. Because when you throw your endorsement on a movement, when you throw your endorsement on specifically terrorists, you're basically saying you're okay with everything that they do. Not to mention, the simple fact is that there are people out there that are doing all of this damage to these cities that are communists. Why on earth would you as a commercial artist throw your hat in with people who are against the system that has allowed you to amass your own personal wealth, to feed your family and things like that? And this is something that I am adamant about when it comes to entertainment, is try your best to keep blatant politicization out of it. Because if you are unable to do so, you will be in situations like this, where you do things that are virtue signaling, that are so ignorant of the situation that is going on, you end up making yourself and the people around you look even worse. Now, by the way, I don't believe in guilt by association. I think that if you're a sensible human being, you should be able to discern that one person's statements do not represent everyone. However, on the flip side, public perception is a thing. Optics are a thing. And you have to keep that in mind whenever you make moves like this. How are people going to react to it? How are people going to think? You know, what is going to be that first reaction? What is that handshake, that first impression that I'm giving to people? If people look up Jeff Lemire and they see a mock-up or a alteration of the Antifa flag, which, again, terrorists, what they're seeing is support for people that are going out and burning businesses, which are ruining lives. That is unbelievable. It's unprofessional. And I am at a point, honestly, where I think that the big two, to be smart, should start firing these people who do this. Because it does not make them look good. But I don't expect them to do that, because you have to keep in mind Captain America is being written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, somebody who actually does support this nonsense. However, one thing I can assure to you, and this is the shameless plug portion of the video, that my book 3 Nights, 4 Days contains no blatant politicization whatsoever, just pure artistic expression. From me as the writer, from the artist Preston Acevedo, and from my colorist Oliver Lee Arce as well. If you have not signed up for the mailing list yet, please do so. We are looking to launch within 10 days of this video, barring any possible delays. So, if there are any delays, it's because of the fucking Postal Service. So, also, if you did back Inglewood, my first comic book campaign, the books will be going out hopefully by the end of this week on the digital end, which is about close to 200 copies. And then the other 400 or so copies, physical, will be going out the week after. Probably at the end of next week. Again, assuming that there's no delays. If there are delays, of course, we will push things back a little bit more. We've been pushing them back already because of other stuff that's gone on. But at this point, you know, we're ready to get moving on to the next step of what Sleeveless Comics is doing. And I really appreciate all of you for hanging with me and being a part of it, because at the end of the day, it's all about you guys, the fans. So with all that said, my name is Micah Curtis, the head of Sleeveless Comics and your favorite vanilla gorilla. I'll see you next time.